With regards to paying the bills, we have one person who no longer has a valid contract. We should not be paying that salary. We need to come up with a valid contract and have it brought before this board and move forward.
So, that person doesn't have a contract.
Gotta set up what your word said.
If you pull that closer, a little bit more. There, thank you.
What I said is there's one person who we've been paying that does not have a valid contract. The contract I seen expired December 31st.
That's, a part-time employee form. It's not a contract, but we can have a discussion.
We need to have a
Yes,
discussion on that.
fine with that. Any other trustee reports? No? We move on to staff reports.
We, everybody's looking at me. As the clerk Triplet said, we have moved forward on our election equipment has been tested. It's all set. We had an election commission meeting last week, set all the employees. The AV applications are out. The early voting cards are being, we're finalizing them this week. We used a local vendor for that. She did, you approved the ID cards already. So those are going out. So they've been quite busy in the clerk's department. And then we have one item on the agenda for the zoning amendment. We're working through some items with the IFT for the Home Depot e-commerce center. And seems like there was something else I wanted to tell you. Spoke with Tyler Ross-Messler and Joel Fike from Flint and Genesee Group last week. We're working on information to have available to people regarding those sites on Maple Road. I'll reiterate again that there is no buyer at this point, so if you're hearing that some company is going in there, that is misinformation. There is no buyer at this point.
Or either side of Maple Road?
That's correct.
So,
For building something. The county actually bought the Osmond piece of property to have available
what
if
township?
they do get
Our
somebody
township?
in our
Okay,
township, yes.
thank you for that information.
Yes.
Chief, is it?
Yeah, that's it.
Chief Salter?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Since our last board meeting, your police department has over 1,200 calls, which is about 86 per day average. Again, that number does not include the 133 traffic stops, 111 business checks, and 61 residence checks. I know I talk about the call volume every day, every meeting for the police, but a lot of times I fail to mention the work that goes in the back end of it too. Our recent investigation with LJ Incorporated, the electrical part that we did a few weeks ago, I talked about. We did another search warrant last week where we we assisted other departments do a search warrant, $186,000, $180,000 in cash, guns, and drugs in the search warrant. So overall, this investigation has almost $500,000 worth of property that we recovered or assisted in recovering from us, from different departments. And that we figured out the total of man hours it cost the departments at 380 man hours for the investigation. That includes patrol investigations. So this is more than just the calls that we go on. There's a lot of back end that come to it too. And I do not have anything on the agenda tonight.
Chief Beckley?
Thank you. Since the last board meeting, your fire department has responded to 49 incidents. This includes 4 structure fires in the last 2 weeks. On the 8th, just after our last board meeting, we responded to the 5400 block of Fernwood Drive for a smoke investigation call. Our first arriving engine in the area found heavy smoke and determined that smoke was actually coming from a house in the 5400 block of Fernwood Drive. That house was well involved with fire and smoke by the time a neighbor noticed it. Our fire crews were on scene for several hours, along with Flushing Fire, Swartz Creek, and Mount Morris Township. Our police department was also out there with us, assisting us with traffic. But the cause of that fire is still under investigation at this time. There was significant heat, smoke, and fire damage to that home. On the 10th, we responded mutually to Mount Morris Township on a structure fire as well. And on the 12th, in the middle of the snowstorm, we responded to the 3500 block of Flushing Road for a barn fire. Fire crews arrived to find a pole barn with smoke and flames coming from it. Luckily, they were able to make a quick knockdown on that fire, and most of the damage was contained to the front of that barn. The cause of that fire appears to be a heater being used too close to combustible items. So just like to remind everyone, make sure if you're using heaters, space heaters, fireplaces, those kind of things, please make sure they're not by anything and always make sure that they are attended. During the snowstorm from the 10th through the 12th, we responded to several weather-related incidents, including wires down, some vehicle accidents. We had a snowplow truck run into a telephone pole, knock down some power lines on it. So the winter weather tends to bring out some interesting calls, but we were out there quite a bit. The week of the 8th, we completed CPR refresher training in our departments, and on the 10th, we held a swearing-in ceremony for our 2 new captains. And Sergeant Austin Scott successfully completed his probationary period on the 10th as well. So just like to say congratulations to those guys, and that concludes my report.
Great. Controller McIntyre, do you have a report?
I don't have one.
So now at this time, we could ask for attorney's report, but basically we're going to ask you questions, and because it's now a little after 6:15, and I know you have to leave within the next 15 to 20 minutes, we're going to combine an attorney's report with action item A, which would be the fire evaluation. Tom Cle, or are you talking about that?
Very good. You're going to read it?
I'm gonna read it.
Okay, good.
All right.
So who do you want to go first?
You want me to read it and then talk, or?
However you guys want to do it.
Okay, this is coming at you.
It?
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion by resolution to move to direct the Flint Township attorney to prepare the necessary paperwork to begin the special assessment process for the fire protection services by a tax value-based special assessment, township-wide for 10 years to ease the burden on the general fund and include the following information. The special assessment will be based on a taxable value of the property. The special assessment will be for 10 years. There will be a public hearing regarding the special assessment on February 1st, 2024 at Riverdale Baptist Church, 5151 Calkins Road, Flint, Michigan, 48532 at 6 p.m. The next one will be February 5th, 2024 at the Flint Township Hall, 1490 South Dye Road, Flint, Michigan, 48532, during the regular meeting at 6 p.m. The next one will be February 26th, 2024 at Central Church of the Nazarene, 1261 Bristol Road, Flint, Michigan, 48507 at 6 p.m. The next one will be March 4th, 2024 at the Flint Township Hall during the regular board meeting at 6 p.m. And the last one will be March 18th, 2024 at the Flint Township Hall during the regular board meeting at 6 p.m. with a vote to follow. This paperwork is to be prepared and mailed to all residents and businesses that will be impacted. Also, it shall be posted on the front of our building, published in the newspaper, and added to all our social media platforms ASAP.
So that's your motion?
Yes.
Is there a second to the motion?
We would support.
So, I wanted to ask the attorney, did you see this before the meeting tonight? No. No. I know we got this at the table. I just want to make sure we know what we're voting on. You said it's a letter.
This is, in my understanding, according to the Public Act, we have to notify the public by 3 different means. It has been recommended that we also send a letter out. That way we know everybody gets notified with today's newspapers and stuff. That was recommended. This is meetings to discuss, like open meetings for the board to discuss with the public a special assessment. And then after the last meeting, we'll take a vote on which way the board chooses to proceed.
Are we following the appropriate steps?
Well, sort of. This is the best explanation I can give. So, as Mr. King mentioned, this is all driven by statute. Statute tells us what we can do and how we go about this. I follow this, and I can take much of this and incorporate it into a resolution. The February 1, February 5 meetings we're not going to be able to do that. Because if you all decide to do this, I have to prepare a resolution, give it to you, that you adopt. That's not going to happen before February 1. That resolution, then there is a public hearing that is scheduled, and the statute tells us that how service of that notice is given and by what means. And we're just not going to be able to do that by February 1 or February 5. There's just not enough time to publish that in a newspaper to meet those timeframes.
So I
But-
should amend my motion then to exclude those 2 dates.
At least. I think February 26th should be no problem. But I'm really here to just answer any questions that the entire board has. I've had many conversations with Mr. Klee and Chief Beckley about this, just explaining the process. But I think it's beneficial to have all of you to hear it all at the same time. So if you have any specific questions, I'll do my best to
And that's
answer.
why I asked you to be here, because we received a letter from Treasurer Klee at our last meeting when it got to that action item. And I think that there was some confusion because we all haven't been at the same table to hear the same information. So now would be a good time if anybody has a question to ask the attorney while he's here. He's got not too much time, but if anyone wants to ask the question. I have a question. We've talked about talking to our residents on what the situation is and asking for their input, how they feel about an assessment versus a millage. This puts us in motion for a special assessment, is that correct?
This directs me to prepare the resolution
For the special
for
assessment?
the special assessment that would come back to you. Now, if you adopt this, that doesn't mean that you're locked in to a proceeding. It just means that the next step will have been taken.
And it's, may I? Does that mean that that doesn't delay us from a choice pattern as we move down the road and letting the public have conversation, letting the public know what we're asking for, letting the public know how this will dramatically and financially impact the community, right?
So, as I understand this, all this does is direct me to prepare a resolution. Excuse me. That resolution, when prepared, is going to come back to you to approve or not to approve. So, if you go along with this, you are not locked in to any path or another, because I'm just going to be giving you the paperwork.
So when you say you're giving us the paperwork, as we want to inform the residents and give them that postcard that we were talked about mailing to them, this will allow us to mail that postcard to every resident, and this will allow us to go forward, but that resolution then doesn't really take effect until the last meeting, am I correct?
So the notice of public hearing
Yes.
is something that I would prepare. It would not be a letter. It's a specific notice. It's got to contain certain language. It's got to be published within, so many days of this public hearing, okay? Now, if you wish to circulate that notice in any other means, that's up to you, okay?
But it has to have we want it, as we stated, and you and I talked on the phone, I thought we had this clear, that what you're going to give us to put onto that will be the clarification and for the understanding of the public that this is what we're asking, this is how it'll be laid out, this is how it meets to Public Act 33.
So the notice will say something along the lines of, the Township Board is considering a resolution, or considering moving forward with financing this project on this basis. There will be a public hearing on such and so a date and time and place, and members of the public are invited to, present their comments concerning it. That's a thumbnail sketch of what that notice would say.
But that's specific to the process of a special assessment.
It is.
Thank you.
Now, the next question I'm gonna throw out there is, hypothetically, we get through this, and we get through meeting, and now it looks like we're gonna have to push deeper into March, in order to make the February 26th meeting, we're gonna miss 1 and 5. If, along the way, the public states, we're driving down this road right now, and we know that at the end of this road, or a certain period on this road, we're gonna drop off the cliff. But we're looking to, how can we support and benefit and influence our public safety involvement as a whole? As we're going on this, using it and following the public assessment process, a public assessment, if you will, if that doesn't meet and the public says, I'm not for and in behalf of an assessment, but I would be more apt to look at a millage vote. Where do we go with this? Can we just turn left?
Yes,
Okay.
the short answer is yes.
Okay.
The process is really, there's 3 different resolutions, at least 2 public hearings involved.
For all of them, right? For the assessment and,
For the special assessment, for
Okay.
the special assessment. It doesn't, you're not locked into a special assessment until that final resolution is adopted.
Okay.
At any point before that, the township can abandon the idea, it can shift gears, it can change tactics.
what trustee King is asking for this evening, with my support, is asking you to prepare the statement, the informational piece that will go out to the public to explain why we want them and what we plan to do.
In part, it's the public notice that I would prepare, but it's the resolution that drives all of this.
Okay.
You can't have a public hearing until you have the resolution. So this directs me to prepare the resolution. I will prepare it, and I've sent, at least the 2 of you, a draft of a resolution
communities,
from
yes.
another community.
Correct.
I would present something similar to you, and if that passes by this board, then you take the next step.
Okay, I'm gonna throw it out, I'm sorry, anybody else while I'm on a roll here? Anybody? What, you said 1 and 5 are off the record, how long would it? You're busy, Michael, I know you are.
You'll have it for your February meeting.
That's
You-
February 5th.
February
5th?
5th, absolutely. I could have something to you by then.
And on that date, you're stating that we need, at that point, ask this board, what is your thought on going forward with the resolution to pursue a
Special assessment.
special assessment for the fire department funding? Or is this, and that still allows us to go straight down that line and turn left if we need to, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Are there any other questions for the attorney?
while I think.
Well, I probably have 1,000 because I haven't been a part of any of this. None of it. 0. No meetings. There's been lots of meetings with closed doors, but I haven't been invited. So a couple things. One is, I don't know what the rush is. It seems like this is really, really hurry, hurry, hurry. I don't know what the cost to the township would be for even sending out cards or whatever. And if all board members are at a public hearing, is that an open meeting?
Well,
+4.
I would tell you to treat it as an open meeting, yes. Anytime you've got a quorum present, I'm not going to get into detail Open Meetings Act, but whenever you've got a quorum present, there's always the fear. So you should treat it as an open meeting.
Can I follow up on that? One of the conversations that, if you don't mind, one of the conversations, I asked him that same question. I said, if that's the case, we would establish an agenda. If I asked you, an agenda, and the only item that would be on that agenda would be the discussion of this at the churches in that respect. That was to make sure we did not impede the Open Meetings Act.
Well, I know we don't have the time tonight to let me know how many months this has been talked about, because I know you have to leave, but I have not been a part of this. I have heard assessment and the word millage. That's it. Nothing.
Well, I think I can answer that. I don't think anything extended past December, in terms of the phone calls that I've received.
Correct. I'll agree to that.
I have a question. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. You're going to prepare the resolution. It will come to our board on February 5th. We'll vote it up or vote it down, approve or disapprove. This motion that you read says that the paperwork is to be prepared and mailed to all the residents. That was part of the motion. Your resolution is to this board. You're not mailing anything. You're going to do a public hearing notice. You're not mailing anything to our residents, are you?
I would never do that, first of all, and number two, that should be also taken from this, because nothing would be sent unless you decide to pursue the special assessment. Again, it starts with the resolution, okay? And until you know that that's been approved, there's nothing further to take place.
Any other questions?
Do we approximately know how many businesses this might include?
Right now, we're looking at, the numbers we received are around 11,000 total taxable properties. that are taxable on this piece, out of our 13,000 plus.
But in answering your question, you don't know how many of those are businesses that are,
We have the whole list. I was given that from our assessor. It's miles long. I can gladly email that to you if you'd like. I'll give you the sheet, and you can go through that Excel spreadsheet as well. I've gone through and looked and looked and clicked and looked, and
you can also get a copy of all the tax exempt parcels, whether they're poverty exemption or veterans exemption or exemptions because they fall under a hospital. They can give you that report too.
that falls out of the 13. That's how we got down to the 11, because we pulled those numbers out.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is there any other questions from the trustees?
So if we vote to move forward, then we have these meetings, then what do we do? You said there were 3 resolutions.
Yes, there's 3 resolutions, all covering different phases of this process. And at the end, if you reach the end and you move forward, well, then you're going to have a special assessment, whatever that special assessment is, right? 10 years, millage base, per parcel base, whatever it is that you all decide.
Okay, and any other questions? No? Is everyone satisfied? So we have a motion and a second. Can you repeat the motion?
You want me to amend the motion to leave all the other out?
Sure.
Okay.
And if I may, instead of getting into these meeting dates, which, again, is all going to be driven by the process, instead of setting that right now, if the motion is to direct me to prepare the starting paperwork for a special assessment, I got it. And I can take it from there. I don't think we need
You don't, okay.
all the detail.
Then I will amend my motion
To say what he said?
to say what he said. So basically, all the way down to stop at the special assessment will be 10 years.
And
Got it. I understand.
Okay.
Tom, you agreeable and you still second it?
Yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, to what the gentleman said.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second. It's to have the township attorney prepare the resolution to come to the township board meeting on February 5th, and we'll vote on that resolution then. That sound good?
Yep.
All righty. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Treasurer Clee,
Yes.
Supervisor Miller,
No.
Trustee Burt,
No.
Trustee Fabdaw,
Yes.
Trustee King,
Yes.
and Clerk Triplett, yes.
All righty, so you know the vote here, and you'll prepare the paperwork, and I know you have to leave, so we'll say goodbye. Did you have anything else you wanted to tell us?
Be here for the other piece or no? The zoning amendment, did we need him for that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Is there anything that you wanted to let
No.
us know?
No, if you don't have anything else for me.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it, and I've got another meeting to go to. They know I'm probably going to be running late, but glad we could at least have this conversation as a full board.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, we're just gonna take a second here. We have a,
Are you gonna go back to the proclamation?
what's that?
Are you going back to the proclamation?
Yep. We have a presentation, and I'm gonna ask for your grace. It's gonna take me more than a minute to get down there, to stand down there, so I'm gonna ask Chief Beckley and Paul Roop to come forward so we can make this presentation.
She's not going.
No, if it's okay, if nobody minds, I'll read it from here. I guess I'm feeling my age tonight.
You just said it'd take you a minute to get there.
Well, you can introduce him. I don't know that a lot of people have seen him because he's not in daily, but I know he's been here a long time.
Yes, so this is firefighter, well, retired firefighter now, Paul Roop. I just wanted to say a couple quick things,
Sure.
if you don't mind. I've only been with Flint Township for about, I'm in my 6th year now here. Paul was one of those guys when I came in, along with a few of the other senior firefighters in this department, that when I was the new guy that had no idea what I was doing in this department, Paul was always there. Always there to help, always there to say, hey, you sure you want to do that? Maybe we need to look at this or this over here. Kind of nicely saying that's not a great idea. Please do something different. But Paul's always been at events. He's always at our department functions. Anything that we ever needed, Paul is there. His name's still on the side of one of the trucks down here, so that's staying there. Just so you know. So just in case you ever decide to come back, it's there. But honestly, Paul, I just want to say thank you for all of your dedication to this department. I won't tell you how old I was when you got on this department in 1996. But for 27 plus years, you dedicated your life, your family. Thank you. I know you have several members that either were a member of this department or still are, and I just want to thank your family and you for all of the dedication over the years and the missed events and functions that you had to deal with to be with us. So thank you.
Oh, my. Whereas Paul Roop has served the residents and businesses of the Charter Township of Flint for over 27 years. Whereas Paul Roop began his service with the Flint Township Fire Department as an on-call firefighter July 1st, 1996. Whereas Paul Roop was committed to furthering himself in his chosen career as a firefighter by attending many training opportunities, including incident command, hazardous materials, terrorism awareness, confined space, and clandestine drug lab awareness. Whereas Paul Roop promoted public safety in the community by conducting fire prevention programs and attending many public events. Whereas Paul Roop is a devoted husband to his wife Mandy and a loving father to his children Becky, Brian, and Rachel. Whereas the Charter Township of Flint wishes to publicly recognize the significant contributions of Paul Roop to the Flint Township Fire Department and the community as a whole during his many years of service. Now therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Flint, on behalf of the staff, firefighters, fire officers, residents, business owners, does hereby issue this proclamation in honor of firefighter Paul Roop and recognizes his time and dedication to the Charter Township of Flint this day, January 22nd, 2024. Thank you very much for your service.
And then a picture with the firefighters, so yes.
You want to say you want to get your family up here? Who do you want up here for pictures? Whoever you want.
Bring them all. Bring them all.
Come on up.
Paul, can you introduce them when they get up?
King.
Greg,
Well, half the room's up.
throw me a butterscotch.
We found everybody.
Oh, my goodness.
Sheesh.
You guys are going to have to squish together a little more.
Double stack.
It's a big family.
Greg, you gotta get out there.
I'm getting out of this picture.
Anybody else?
There's more coming.
Still some more coming.
Do this here. Oh, my goodness gracious.
No kidding.
Yep.
Oh, they're still coming. Hold on.
Wants it? Ask Greg if she can have one. Or ask her.
Makes me nervous she might choke.
It's like your family or something.
Yeah, act like you love each other.
All right.
Paul, do you want to get one with the firefighters also? Come on up here. Don't go anywhere.
So. Down the tree line, I think.
Hey, Greg, you're retired. You need to be out here with them.
That's hilarious.
You guys are going to have to squeeze together.
We need our quota now.
All they're gonna see are your eyes.
You guys are going to have to squeeze together. Can you, like, make 2 rows?
That's all they need.
Short guy in the front.
Austin in front.
more.
These guys can get back up. I never see everything I do. Not anymore.
Tracy's getting one, Tracy's getting one, Tracy's getting one.
Tracy's side.
Hold on, Tracy's
Hold on.
Charlie's over there too.
All right, I got you. Let's hit that one for Facebook.
So, Paul, you forgot to introduce your family.
Oh gosh, bring them all back up.
So, did you want to announce that we're having cake and ice cream?
Yeah. Do you want to do that now, or do you want to do it at the end?
Absolutely.
So there is some cookies and water in the back. If anyone would like some, help yourself.
Yeah, we're gonna take a break. Yeah, and we'll have some cake, cookies,
There's cookies. Yep.
cookies and coffee,
Water. Yep.
We're really getting cheap here.
It's been a busy day. We had bigger plans, but we had a fire just before this. So
So please help yourself. No, thanks.
Getting good.
That was good timing on the attorneys, huh?
Almost done. Yeah, we haven't got to the ordinance. You know what? We've done that one, so
So we're here.
when we come back, I'm gonna take that off.
Okay, and then we're gonna do this one.
Westminster. You're taking it off? If.
Water affordability? It's here. Yes, he is. The director is there, and he's sitting in the back of the room.
What are you talking about?
Westminster.
No, he doesn't.
That's the first one.
Oh, it was told that.
Water affordability.
I didn't understand that.
We'll bring it back.
So I enjoyed it.
Want some water? Want water? I'll go get you.
I'll take a walk. Tom's gonna get it. Thank you, Tom.
When we come back,
He always looks out for a meeting. Thank you, though.
Barb, did you want anything? No. Tracy was asking.
Thanks, Tracy.
did you hear me?
You're gonna take off what?
E.
Okay.
That's the whole family. I mean, that's the whole audience.
I think it is. No.
Kevin.
Got bad news?
You don't need to.
Would you pass that down too?
We can do one by one.
Yeah, that we get, oh, I didn't see her with the other, there it is. I didn't see her with the,
I've got it.
I didn't see that.
Thank you, though.
Now I got two.
Thank you.
I'm gonna break my.
I got another walker at home. I can't grip. I broke my hand. Doesn't work right. Where were you? Oh, the wolf.
It's playing tag backwards in it.
Who's?
Isn't he the guy in the white hair? Isn't he, that's what's his name from Westminster, right?
Yeah, Ralph. Ed.
Right there
With the hat and the.
is Josh Carnigan.
I thought it was Joe.
That's the one paid, so.
His name is Paul Kevin Root. I've always called him Kevin. Brian.
Brian goes up.
Well, that's
Josh is Kevin's son-in-law, Paul's son,
Here's your brother too, right?
and then Jesse, his
Yeah,
brother.
because
They're
Crystal
twins.
Crystal
I
went
knew
to
that
school with
there
both
was
of
two
them.
Jernigan,
Yeah.
that they were related.
They're twins.
Well, I knew the twins were related, that was,
But Josh,
but I didn't know that.
Josh is actually his son. By marriage.
So,
Halloween, huh?
I think,
Well, I think those were from the MTA meeting at Lisa's did.
I agree.
With the-
Are you able
all
to
different
work
Yellow and purple and green and.
on election day as an election commissioner?
It's so much that,
Oh. I didn't know if they'd allow you to.
yeah, I don't,
Yeah. Is that person with the pink sleeves in your family?
like third or fourth row, that is my sister-in-law, it's Shelley's sister, her
She
husband,
looks like her.
Marcy.
Does Shelley have another sister who's here?
Yeah, Mandy.
She was holding a baby.
Yeah, Mandy, Paul's wife is Shelley's sister. Shelley's the oldest, and Marcy the maid.
We'll see that's
What's that?
absolutely. We're fresh.
Getting out of Flint. We get over to the airport. We're at the viaduct. 6:20. We wanted to be at the airport at 6:30. I said to Jerry, "Did you remember your passport?" He said, "No." I said, "Neither did I."
How are you?
Turn around. We get to
love, wait, I know, then you didn't really mean it, yeah, no, really, it's okay, it's the flip. Or do you think we're gonna get all that snow?
No.
2 to 5 inches or something like that? Yeah, or into
Tomorrow,
tomorrow,
isn't
or
it?
certain, I
Tomorrow
don't know.
morning. Yeah, tomorrow morning it's supposed to be bad.
I wanted that 16 inches.
Crap.
I wanted to take that Jeep out.
It's supposed to continue through the day and then freeze tomorrow late afternoon.
I got that thing right in front
Yippee.
of rocks and like clean snow.
My daughter called me from Florida, I'm gonna say 4 days ago, when we were in that Arctic freeze. Anyways, and I said, how's it going? And she says, good, and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, it's gonna be like 40 down here. I said, we're praying for 40. We're praying for 40.
Oh, the game?
Right? Yeah, right. I know.
My brother-in-law went.
Yeah. It's like, holy crap. But yeah, it's just kind of like,
No, that was all right.
Take 2 up.
Yes, oh, they will. They've got that fire now.
The concert the other night. We met up with Jimmy Full Crazy that was at my house.
You too.
For the last
one time.
these people at my house. Not
He's a
these ones,
popular.
but so I just got rid of them and now I have these. I'm like, "Ah,
MV.
stop.
All right. Are we ready?
Yes, we are.
There's a bunch of alerts out right now. I'm getting.
Oh, is it?
I should plug this.
Hey Dave.
So it's probably gonna be really bad.
weather?
It's gonna
For
be
school
really
tomorrow.
bad tomorrow. Yeah, that's what it's.
That's what they're predicting.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on. Sorry, proclamation, boom. Pay the bills. I gotta find.
We're
it.
going to call the meeting back to order, please. And I had overlooked one of the action items that we wanted to remove, and it was action item E. That'll come back at another meeting, not tonight. So, yeah. We have just finished action item E, so the only action item that we'll have,
Said action item E. You
I
said
did.
action item E, but it's F.
what does that say, F?
Are you talking about the water affordability?
Yep,
Okay,
we'll postpone
thank
that.
you.
F is being
Okay, thank
postponed
you.
also? Okay.
So we have the ordinance zoning amendment, and we have the 2024 poverty exemption. That's what we have. Right now, we finished we need a motion on the proclamation. They left and they don't know if we're going to pass that or not.
Greg,
I will make a motion to pass the proclamation.
he will second that.
Any discussion? You have nothing, you worked with him all those years.
At 26, 27 years with him. We came on actually together in the first Genesee County Fire Academy they had. Flint Township was actually the trial for that academy. At that time, there was 21 of us that started it, and I believe 17 that actually finished the academy.
How many, may I ask, how many are still with us?
Jerry?
One.
That's what I thought. Is it Jerry?
One.
Is it Jerry? Okay. I was thinking it was Jerry.
Tom, did you want to say anything on that motion?
I seconded it, and I was just asking that question to let him talk. I told him in the hallway, he and I have had conversations for 20-some years and outside of this, and I just appreciate whatever these guys do all day long. Both blue and white right there in those shirts, everything they do, so, thank you.
So much to my amazement, I had no idea how large, and I don't know the name of the original family, but seeing your whole family up here, I didn't know that the Roops were related to the Kings, and then you told me the Jarnagans, that's a big family and devoted to community service and our fire service, and we thank your family. We owe a debt of gratitude to, we call it the King family? We don't, do we?
No, because
Yeah.
other than by
King's
marriage,
side.
yeah, it's, so it would be, that's Roop, that's his side, and then my wife and her sisters, and
So there's a lot of people who have worked and served in our fire department and the Raleigh family too. There's many generations of people who served our community in the fire department, and we're grateful to them. We have a motion and a second on approving the proclamation. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, that passes. Number 8, Mr. Treasurer.
Yes, ma'am. You've all received and should have seen a motion to approve the payment of the invoices and/or these disbursements in the amount of $1,350,000. I see I left a comma out. $190,000.32 is also authorized by the board's purchasing policy. In addition, we have tax disbursements in the amount of $3,318,808.89 for a total of $4,668,999.21 in invoices, tax disbursements. And along with this, within a slip to the Genesee County Drain Commission of $943,000 out of this, $397.02 for pass-through, as I always mention to you. We collect it, we push it on down the road. That's my motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
I'd like to say something, though. I will be voting no tonight on this, and the reason is the same thing that trustee King mentioned, that we have a part-time employee that does not have an approved contract right now.
I don't believe any of our part-time employees have a contract, but we move on. Is there any other discussion or questions for Mr. Treasurer? No? So, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,350,190.32.
Supervisor Miller,
Yes.
Trustee King,
no.
Trustee Favdahl,
No.
Trustee Burt,
Nope.
Treasurer Glee,
Yes.
and Clerk Triplett. Yes.
That's 3-3, it goes down. We'll bring the bills to our next meeting to pay. Are there any correspondence or informational items,
Can I
Madam?
comment on this, please? Can I still comment on this, according to Robert's rules?
Well, not according to Robert's rules, but you can, because.
Well, I'd like to comment on the fact of what.
Go ahead.
What both those individuals stated. We're looking into that, yes. And that check that he was paid for, that gentleman was paid for, was for the last payments in December. We need to look at any payments going forward. So that was clearing up in his, up to 12/31/23.
With that vote, we're still not going to be able to pay the bills. So
Correct.
we'll bring them back
Correct.
to the next meeting
I'm just,
on February 5th. So, are there any correspondence or informational items?
I do not have anything, no, at this time.
So we will move on to action items. Action item A isn't, well, it's actually B because we've already done one, is the ordinance zoning amendment. Tracy, did you want to speak on that?
This is the first reading of this for, a conditional rezoning. However, because they have met with the, residents several, since they had the original recommendation from Planning Commission, and their conditions have also changed due to those meetings with those, residents, they would like to present it to the Planning Commission again, for review before it comes to final vote. So they're asking for it to be sent back to the Planning Commission for review at the February meeting.
If anyone would like to make a motion to do so?
Could we move to allow this amendment, this request to be moved for the ordinance amendment for zoning number, parcel number PZC 23-003, east of Westminster, per the recommendation and the request, I should say, of the property owners to move that back to the Planning Commission.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
A lot of chatter, but that's what I meant. Sorry.
You got it, you got there.
Got all my documents right here.
So we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or discussion? Did you want to describe how this is different from what the Planning Commission turned down?
For one thing, it is only one of the parcels. The other two parcels, the owner of those has decided he doesn't want them as part of the rezoning. It is a conditional rezoning, which means that the applicant comes forth with the conditions that they're proposing. We, as the governmental unit, cannot place those restrictions on them. They have to come to us with those. They met with the Planning Commission, and they had a few items, but after meeting with some of the, when they had a town hall meeting with the residents, basically, and they came up with some more things that they wanted to make sure were listed in the conditions. Do you want me to read those conditions to you, or
Say it again?
Sorry.
do you want me to read those conditions to you, or?
Does, I know we have information here. Do you want to hear it read, trustees?
Yeah, as long as it's in here, I don't think we need to.
Do the trustees want to hear from the owners who are here?
Their representative. He's here and they're in the back, aren't they?
Are we interested in hearing from the owners, yes or no?
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Doesn't, I'm gonna ask the question, if this tosses it back to the Planning Commission, then we'll be able to go and listen to everything that they're gonna lay out in front of the Planning Commission, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then when that fine gentleman there, who I've heard a couple of times, once they present back to the Planning Commission, their recommendation, correct me if I'm wrong, Carol, you're there, that comes back to us for a vote, am I correct?
Right, it would
Okay.
come back to you at the March meeting as either the ordinance up or down. That's what you'll
Okay.
do.
So we can get it, we can go to the Planning Commission and hear everything that gentleman is going to present.
Yeah.
In regards to all of this. Okay.
Yes.
I'm good then. As long
So-
as I can sit there in the audience and listen, I'm good.
I also wanted to bring to your attention, you have copies of letters. They're from residents who live, a resident who lives in that neighborhood. I see that there are a couple of residents from that neighborhood who are here. We won't be hearing from you tonight, but I just wanted to bring to your attention, you have a copy of each of the letters. One's addressed to me and the Township Board, and one is addressed to Larry Ford. So before it goes back to the Planning Commission, I'm asking you to read that. I was requested to make sure everybody got a copy. So, I'm sorry, we're not going to be hearing from you tonight, but we'll hear from you at the Planning Commission. We have a motion and a second on taking the ordinance, the amended ordinance, I'll say it right, the ordinance zoning amendment back to the Planning Commission for PZC 23-0003. When's the next Planning Commission meeting, Tracy, please?
February 8th.
On February 8th. We're going to do a roll call, Madam Clerk.
Okay, roll call. Trustee Burke,
No,
trustee Fabdahl,
Yes.
trustee King,
Yes.
supervisor Miller,
To go back to the planning commission, yes.
clerk Triplett, yes, and our treasurer, Clee.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you. And the last item is the 2024 poverty exemption resolution and guidelines. Would somebody like to make the motion to start the process?
Sorry, get my paper ready. Item D, the poverty exemption resolution and guideline is, I would move that we accept this as presented to the board based on the exemption policy and procedures for the tax year 2024.
Is there a second?
Support.
Thank you. Any questions about the 2024 poverty exemption resolution and guidelines? None? Madam Clerk, please do a roll call. You had a question?
Sorry, who was the second by?
Greg was.
Oh, thank you.
Trustee King,
Yes.
trustee Fabdahl,
Yes.
trustee Burke,
yes.
supervisor Miller,
Yes.
clerk Triplett, yes, treasurer Clee.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Alrighty. The last item that was on the agenda is a water affordability. The county's gonna, be asking for our support or disapproval of the state tacking on a $2 charge to every water bill to help, fund a water fund assistance for people in need. So I'll bring more information for the trustees to review. Did you have something for me? No?
Both of you. Were we gonna talk about that tonight?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, because we took it off. I'm just letting everybody know. It will come back with more information.
Wasn't that going to be, I'm just asking, weren't we supposed to talk
Next
about
week.
setting the date for that?
29.
To tell everybody about that or no?
For what one? Oh, that.
I'm sorry, I was just, I thought we had this,
Yeah, I'll get to that. So that was for the water
Apologize.
affordability,
Right.
and the county's asking for our input. So, you'll have something before the next meeting. Announcements.
Thank you.
One is, our next meeting is February 5th.
Right.
And, let's see, two things are happening. Actually, that's not our next meeting. We have a special meeting next Monday. Next Monday's January 9th, and, as you can see, we have an empty,
29.
man, time flies.
Tough crowd.
Sorry,
Next Monday is January 29th, and we have an empty seat, and we'll be interviewing anybody who previously put an application in. I think two more people put an application. We're gonna give anybody who previously applied a minute or so to add anything they wanted to what they said last time. If there's anything they missed telling the board, on why they want to, do that. And I think the two applicants will be given, 4 or 5 minutes to talk to the board, a couple minutes to describe themselves, and then a couple minutes of question and answers. And that's all we're gonna do next Monday at our open meeting, and anybody's welcome to come, but we're not gonna ask, we're gonna ask the, applicants at 6 PM, no, 3 PM.
No, 3 PM,
3 PM.
because I'm yeah, 3.
I think yeah,
We said, that's what you told me.
January
this
29th at 3 PM.
3 PM.
And so, we're not gonna ask the applicants, we'll ask them to stay out because we didn't want them to hear everybody else's, answers, and I don't think that's gonna take very long. So then, the board will make the decision at the, February 5th meeting, who we want to fill that seat. So that'll occur, at the following meeting on February 5th. So, if,
I have one
yes.
thing. I forgot to mention that the Genesee County Board of Commissioners is giving $100,000 in ARPA funds to all the senior centers, which is a wonderful thing. There's 16 senior centers in the county, and this is for repairs or whatever they need. But Derek from the Planning Commission is going to meet with the directors to make a list and see what the needs are and that type of thing. But I think that's a really good thing. Very thankful.
total of 100,000 to split amongst all, or each one gets 100?
Each one,
Nice.
And
each one.
did
And
they,
it's needed, yeah.
that's good.
Nice.
Were there stipulations on what that money can be used for?
That's what they're going to meet with all the directors individually at each center.
Yeah, they said it was going to be for,
Maybe
they originally were
upgrades
gonna
or-
have them fill out something, but then he said they're not, he doesn't think they're gonna make them do that. That it's basically for any improvements that they wanna do at the centers, which is fantastic.
It is,
Yeah,
it's
that was great
wonderful.
news.
So,
seems like,
well,
oh,
so.
and the drop boxes are in. I forgot
Yes.
to say that to everybody.
They're in the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotta find, we need to
thought I
find
mentioned them
Paul and find out where the keys are.
I thought I think I mentioned that
Did
last
he give
time.
them to you? Okay.
Or did we just talk about it in the,
When were they placed?
during the
Last
snow
Friday.
day?
Last
Last
During the
Friday.
storm day?
It was a Friday,
When we were
not this
closed.
past Friday, the Friday before.
And Paul was gracious
So,
enough to come up and let him
The
in.
law changed that said that we're required, every municipality is required to have 2 drop boxes for the ballots.
That's correct,
One was placed at the senior center,
that's correct.
and one is placed out here.
Yeah.
And the other drop box that's brown, that will be for water bill payments, or whatever. If somebody wants to drop
Right, we've
something
gotta
else.
get the ballot language taken off that
get
now
that
that,
done.
that's
Yeah.
there,
So that
now
we
that it's
can
done.
confuse.
And we need to get the new boxes opened now that we're, starting to send out AV ballots. So that was the only thing we had today.
You're talking about the labeling of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Are-
that's been a confusion for a little bit, so that we're not getting tax bills put into the election boxes.
Alrighty, if there's no further business, and without objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
They'll still mix it up.
Yeah, no doubt.